That's my list of things. I look at it, and if I run out of stuff to talk about, I'll just say one of those words and awkwardly jump to a new topic of conversation.
Okay.
How you doing, Mike AM? It's a good day for a podcast. He said, yeah, let's do it. I said, fuck yeah, okay, let's do it. And that's how it happened, and it's happening now.
We are in the studio with Jana Teovano.
Hello.
Singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. What else? What else do you want people to know about you?
I don't want them to know too much.
No?
No, I do. Wouldn't be doing this.
I when I was doing my research, I'm like George Stroumboulopoulos. I do my research. I found you come off simultaneously as an open book yet totally enigmatic. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, here's a whole bunch of personal stuff in song form.
Yeah.
But also, like, there's shit that you will never know about me. And I get it. I respect that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's, I don't know, my girlfriend always says that I'm like that. And she also told me that I should try engaging with people more, especially in shows, and talk more about maybe the things I'm singing about, you know, because just like you said, it's like you're so personal in your songwriting, but then you won't talk about it. It's like kind of weird.
Do you ever hit on a topic, or, you know, you just, in the heat of the moment, you write a really sick line and you're like, yo, that's some good wordplay or something like that. And then afterwards you're like, you know what? I don't want people getting this deep.
No, when it comes to songwriting, I think that there's no such thing as sharing too much. I don't know. It's weird. I think it's the way I was raised. My dad would always be like, you know, don't tell people too much. They don't need to know everything type of thing, right?
Very European.
Yeah. But then when it comes to music, I had a music teacher who told me music is something no one can tell you how to do, and you should never allow anyone telling you how to do it. It's your thing. So not even your dad. And he was like really close to my dad, and my dad really respected him, and he said that in front of my dad, which was kind of like, ooh, right? And I was like, okay, I have his blessing. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah. So I think because I'm not so maybe open and I don't talk about personal things, when I talk to people, I get it out in the songwriting.
There's back when Ellen DeGeneres was a stand-up comedian, she said something like, I used to go to therapy, but then I decided I'd rather get paid to talk about my problems.
Yeah.
I'm getting distracted by this winter wonderland outside. It's snowing again. After the second spring fake out. It is snowing. I'm going to close this window because that's too pretty. I can't.
Okay.
See, this is going to get left to the podcast. I don't... like, this is part of the show, right?
Yeah. He just closed the window. He's back in his comfy chair.
It's part of the show. I don't care. I'll eat a pear, answer the door, close the window. It's my show.
It's all part of life.
I don't have corporate sponsors to answer to. Yet. Who do I want? Lena's Coffee. I want to be sponsored by Lena's Coffee from the farmer's market. I give her a shout out on every episode. She'll probably never hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'll tell her. Maybe I'll have her on as a guest.
You should.
Oh man, she's a coffee expert. She'll school you.
Dude, I don't even drink coffee.
Why is that?
I don't know. Growing up, I never liked the smell of coffee or taste. And then it was funny because I started working at Starbucks, and people were like, oh, what should I get? I'm like, literally, I don't care. But I'm like,
it all sucks.
I like tea. The tea's great.
Yeah.
But then I started working at another cafe place, and they were like really proud of their coffee. They had their own blends. They were like, you know, really fancy, and they had to train me on like all the stuff, and I actually had to try everything and taste it and be able to talk about it and differentiate. And that experience made me appreciate coffee more, because I'm like, wow, this is like so, there's so much to it. It's not just like coffee, you know. But I still don't drink coffee.
I respect that.
Tea for life.
Tea for life. Leaf water, bean water, or hot chocolate.
Ooh, hot chocolate.
If you never want to grow up. So.
Or be a musician, and then you never grow up.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing.
Same thing. Be a musician and drink hot chocolate.
Yeah. So there's a funny little dichotomy there, but with am I using that word right? Probably not. With a music teacher telling you that no one can tell you how to do music, and I totally get it. You shouldn't be told how to express your art, but also there's a framework that is kind of understandably, objectively, air quotes, good, right? When did you start taking music lessons?
I started playing violin when I was 5.5. And then I started playing piano at 10. So that was all like classical. And my sister was a professional classical pianist. So she gave me lessons in piano. And it was funny, like, I always loved any kind of music, like anything. My dad would be traveling the world because he was a doctor, and he is a doctor, and he would bring me back CDs, right, from India, Spain, Italy, Germany, whatever, Russia, and I would play it, and I would just start singing along, like repeating the words and everything. He's like, what? Doesn't matter what language it was in. And then I saw Vanessa May, you know, the violinist.
No.
Anyways, it was on TV, and I was like, wow, she's so cool. She was playing electric violin. It was like so intense. And my dad was like, oh, you like that? And I was like, yeah. So he signed me up for violin. And then later on, he was like, oh, you like the piano? Okay, let's get you starting the piano too. And I was like, oh, no, but that's not what I meant. I just like it. I don't want more responsibility and more things to do. I can't just go out and play with my friends.
There's this weird attitude that some people have that you have to be doing, like, focusing on one instrument, and it's whereas the more you learn about another instrument, you can take a week off piano to practice violin, and then you'll come back to the piano and be like, holy shit, I just got better.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't played in a week, a month, or something like that, but you've been developing all the same fine motor skills, the connection between your ears and your hands, and developing that ability to imagine something and then bring it to life on an instrument.
Totally.
And I think, like, as a music teacher, that's one thing that kind of parents are scared of, and I just don't even, like, bother.
Yeah.
Trying to, like, I try a little bit, but they're just like, no, we don't have time for more things. We got to get them to karate and this and that. And it's like, like, I get it. I get that you don't want to spend more money, and you don't want the kids to just be like blindly, like, oh, do this for 5 minutes, do this for 5 minutes. But if there's an actual interest in music, all of that stuff overlaps.
I agree.
So you're still using your violin skills. You're doing some looping stuff.
Yeah, I use it here and there. I've been, things that, because it was such a big part of my childhood, and, growing up in a Serbian household where the dad is constantly up your ass. It became this thing that I hated doing, because he was always like, I always wanted to do, like, hang out with my friends and do things I liked. I was always like, well, no, you didn't practice enough, or you need to practice more. Show me what you've practiced. It was, like, very strict. And it made me hate it. I love music, but it made me hate playing. So we had this deal that I need to get to a certain level, and then after that, it's up to me whether I want to keep going or not. So when I did, I just literally just packed it up and, like, threw it in the darkest hole I could find. But then, you know, it would come back. You know, people were like, oh, what instruments do you play? And when I'd say violin, like, oh my God, that's so cool. Oh, can you bring your violin? Like, I always wanted to jam with a violinist, something like that. So it started creeping back into my life.
What was the longest time that you went without touching a violin?
So that first time, it was like, I think like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this. Oh, I know what I'm hearing. There's a vent underneath us, and I'm hearing it creeping up. That's okay.
Yeah, I hear it too. It's okay.
It's okay. Everything's okay. Yeah, I actually did the exact same thing. Where, like, piano lessons, I was like, we made a deal. I think I asked to start, and then we made a deal as to, like, when I was allowed to quit. And then I'm like, yeah, music is not for me. Turns out I don't like this stuff, and I didn't get back into it till high school. But what's weird is that builds, like, a foundation that somehow I feel like it sticks with you for the rest of your life. And I know a lot of people who have had that same situation where something turned them off of that pursuit, and it's just frustrating. And especially when you're younger, your hands are small and weak, and you can't make the sounds right. And then you come back to it, and you're like, "Oh, this is easy."
Yeah. It's also like, I feel like, you know, when you're a kid, someone's making you do it, and someone's telling you how you should do it, and yeah, they're trying to help you, you know, get to the level where you can play and you like what you're playing. But it's like when you're a kid, you want to be good at it, but you don't want to have to work for it.
Yeah.
So you need someone to push you, and then when they push you, you end up hating it, and it's this whole thing where you, like, keep fighting with your parents. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm really glad my dad pushed me so much, because I wanted to quit so many times. I was like, no, I hate this. I don't want it. You know, my teacher would make me cry because he was like this older Russian guy, and you know, if I played the wrong note, he would, like, scream. He's like, are you deaf? What's wrong with you? I was like, So, you know, between that and, like, my dad always forcing me to play, it's like, but now I'm really glad that I know how to play all those instruments. And, you know, I hang out with my friends that are the same age as me, and they're like, oh, I wish I stuck with my piano lessons when I was a kid. You know, I could play something now.
Yeah.
So,
something about European people, they just have this knack for sounding so much angrier than they really are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he probably wasn't that emotionally invested in your wrong notes on the violin, but when you heard him being like, are you deaf? He's just saying what he's thinking, you know? There's no
filter.
Yeah, something about that culture. They don't value the development of that honesty filter. I think it's just like, I don't know, if we're looking at a map, like if you drew a line down, where's... I don't want to... I can't point to it from here, but what's that? Germany? Yeah, if you... Oh my God, I'm literally describing the Berlin Wall. I'm just... So everything that way of that people don't like consider other people's feelings when they talk. They just say everything because that's...
Oh my God. That's so true. And they talk over each other. It's not how, like, the way conversations work, like even my family's, like, home is, when you go there, it's like whoever's the loudest, they get to talk type of thing, you know? Everyone just starts like, for instance, I'm telling a story, and you know, I'm like a minute in, not even, and then you like just start jumping all over this one thing I said, and it's like, hold on, I'm not done, you know. And then we end up like doing this, like, who's gonna be louder, who's gonna be heard. And because I don't really spend time with my family anymore, so I'm not used to that kind of communication anymore. And when I go back, it really makes me mad.
You're used to the Canadian politeness now?
I'm used to like being a normal human being and like, you know, just kind of shut the fuck up when someone else is talking, you know, just be. It's not about like, I don't think it's weird. I think it's like, if you want to talk with someone, if you want to have a conversation with someone, it's not a monologue. So like, wait, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. There's a reason.
Oh. So wise. Who said that?
I don't remember.
I'm going to say Genghis Khan. So you were born in Serbia.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in Greece?
Yep.
How old were you when you moved there?
I was 4.
4. And then...
No, 5. 5, yeah.
And then when was Canada next?
So, no, it was like, there was a bombing in Serbia in 1999. And that's when we moved to Greece. And yeah, I lived there for 13 years. So I grew up there, and I moved to Canada only 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
I guess you learned English in Greece?
TV.
Just from TV?
Cartoon Network.
Oh, yeah?
My jam.
Nice.
Yeah.
My parents always told me I was born in Canada, but my mom's always just like, oh, tell them English is your second language. I'm like, I was born here. Nobody buys that. And she's like, it's true. We didn't speak English around you. You picked it up from Sesame Street.
Yeah. I actually like, I watched a lot of Cartoon Network, even like ever since I was born. So while I was in Serbia, we had Cartoon Network, so I watched that. Then when we went to Greece, I didn't have Cartoon Network anymore, but I started listening to music a lot, and it was all in English, and then movies and stuff. I don't know. Then at some point I got a scholarship at a private school because I played violin, I think. I don't know. Like, my parents dealt with that. And it was the first time, so it was grade 4. And we were going to do English. And I was so stressed out. I'm like, all the other kids have been doing English for the past 4 years. So I was just going to jump in. And I'm like, I've never done English in my life. Oh my God. So they made me do this test to see like what level they're going to put me in. And I think I jumped straight into the intermediate right before advanced. And then the next year I was in advanced. And like when I was doing the test, I was like understanding everything. So it was just like minor grammar mistakes I was making.
And just all sunk in from Cartoon Network.
So weird.
So what was your jam with the cartoons?
Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo.
Hey, pretty mama. You know?
Wow. I was you didn't even list a few. That's your number
Johnny
one.
Bravo.
Johnny Bravo.
That's like and like I loved Tom and Jerry, but they didn't speak.
Right.
So Tom and Jerry, Johnny Bravo. What else? Later on, I started watching Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I remember Courage. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the same animating team as Cat Dog, right?
Oh, was it?
I believe so. The style is very similar.
I love Cat Dog.
I mean,
too.
I'm sure Nickelodeon shared a lot of, their artists,
People, yeah.
right? I love cartoons, man.
I know.
Our previous guest loves cartoons probably more than both of us. I wonder what Dope Chief's do. Where are you, Dope Chief? That's his hashtag. I tried learning violin. I mean, I'm still... Like, I've put a pin in it. But it is so hard Do you credit that instrument with like the development of your musical ears?
Definitely. Yeah. You can't play it unless you're like really hypersensitive with like what you're hearing and what you're doing, like the connection, like you said, between your ears and your hands.
It kind of makes you hypersensitive too, because it just like even the slightest wrong move you make results in just the worst noise you've ever heard directly in your ear, because you're pressing your head against it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I hate this.
And for that, I think I can hear better on my left ear than on my right, and I think it's because the violin is closer to my left ear, which is so weird.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard that's you hear certain things better. It's correlated with like the size of your brain and the way they pick things up. So it's like if you need to, you're gonna understand speech slightly better out of like your right ear, and perhaps pick up like fine differences in sounds like you would musically out of your left.
Well, let me take the headphones off.
Oh.
Leave it on one ear. Let's see if your theory works.
What did I just...
You said that I'll understand conversations better with my right ear.
Right? No, left.
You said right.
Did I say right?
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking... Yeah, you're right. All right, let's do that. That's my bad ear. I'm going to do it as well, but just...
let's see.
Yeah, we've shifted our headphones slightly.
Pretty excited about the show we're going to play. I've never been here in Hamilton before. And
really?
Yeah.
Steel Town. Corktown. Corktown is, I believe, I think it's one of the first settlements. It was one of the first Irish settlements. It's the hood that I grew up in.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not Irish, but I will be on St. Patrick's Day. I don't know what that means. But yeah, the bar we're playing, the Corktown, was built in the 1800s.
That's crazy.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, they do like a, what do you call it? They do like a weekly Newfoundland style jamboree type deal. It's always packed.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, the bars, it's always packed for that. They leave when I start playing.
Hopefully that changes.
Have you ever done like the cover circuit? Like the bar gig thing? I see like a intense distaste for that idea in your eyes.
I guess I kind of did it when I first started playing in Greece, just because I was still fresh with the guitar. I just like learned how to play, and that's how I started practicing, right? Guitar and singing, because I learned on my own. I didn't take any lessons. So I was literally like, oh, what song do I like? Oh, I'll try learning it. And I would practice, and then I would sing with it. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And then I go to the next one, and next one, and next one. So I had like these 30 songs that I loved. And then I was hanging out with a bunch of my friends at this old cafe bar that's closed now, but it was in the neighborhood we all lived in. It was called Mirovolos, and we were there until like 2 a.m. or something. They were going to close up, and they had an old upright piano. So my friends were like, oh, didn't you say you play the piano? Like, oh, go play something. Like, no one's here. Like, who cares? I'm like, okay. So I went, and I played, I think Hit the Road Jack, right? Something pretty like bluesy, and the owner was there, and he was like, when I was done, he was like, hey, don't stop now, like, keep playing. And then he asked me if I wanted to play there on Sunday, like have my own set, like play for 3 hours. So I was like, shit, okay, I'll do that. And I came back Sunday, and I played like all the songs I knew. And I would go from guitar to piano, and I literally played for 3 hours without stopping. I was like, breaks? What are those? No, I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so with this show that we're we're doing here. I feel like I went overboard with the Facebook post I made about it, but I've been trying this new thing where like I communicate things that I feel, and it's
Same.
Yeah, it's new, right? But it's kind of it's crazy. It's like when you do that, people know how you feel about things.
It's
magically,
weird.
right?
It's like,
yeah.
I don't have to guess, and then you're not frustrated because they're not getting it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, maybe sometimes, yeah. Wow, what a concept!
Struggle, I know.
So it has resulted in this, in my social media posts getting longer as well. That's a thing where I was just always like, "Ew, why would you share this much of yourself to just the world?"
I was always like, who has time for that to type so much? Like shit. But
it's like you get better at it as you do it.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but
no.
I think that
You're the guest.
But I think that you're right. Like, I think people can tell when you're being genuine and when you're actually like sharing your thoughts and what you're feeling. And when you're just like saying things to sound smart and to like lecture, like people can like literally, they can like glance and they can see what's what, and they'll either skip or they'll keep reading. Yeah,
like when you read something and it's just like, oh, this person's trying to sell me something.
Yeah.
Done. One of the major changes or reasons for that change in the way I've been approaching this stuff, there are several, but one of them is there's this artist that I was supposed to play a show with, and he dropped out. I don't know if you know him. He's from Toronto. Sunsetter?
No.
No? He does this like... he started out doing this like really, really ambient stuff. He even like scores some films and stuff like that. But he writes just like really openly about like struggles with mental health and just kind of like the difficulties in his creative process and just all of the hurdles that you encounter as an artist, where you want to create something pure, for lack of or for at risk of sounding pretentious, but very much like you have this perfect idea in mind, but you need to get it into MP3 format for people, and there's all these people you need to interact with along the way, or spend 10 times more time doing it and sink your own money into it. And that there are things you can do to kind of give yourself a boost, make it easier for yourself, make it easier for people to access it. And each of those things chips away at, this pure thing that you're trying to get down. And I found myself reading these like long things, and at first I was like Jesus, who has time for this? Like you said, and then it like I found myself like listening to his music as well, and then when I see the process behind it, I appreciate it more, and I connect with the emotion behind it more to the point where like I'm now like a huge fan of his music. And I think the first long post I made on Instagram was when Tom DeLonge from Blink-182.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking like a crazy person about aliens, and it was like, it was kind of like, it was sad, you know what I mean? I was just like, I just kind of like vented about how you only have so long to be kind of at your A game, and then sooner or later something trips you up, and then all of a sudden everyone thinks you're crazy, or everyone thinks you're not cool, or like like the Chili Peppers and the Foo Fighters were the shit for so long, and now it's cool to not like them.
Yeah.
Right? So that was just what I wrote about. And I was like, this is therapeutic. And a few people like actually engaged with what I said instead of just being like lit 3 fire emojis.
Yeah.
And then you just feel more alone
Yeah.
as you do this. So
It's I feel like everyone's starting to do that more and more now. I mean, I don't know if it's like, I don't want to get all political, but you know, with Trump saying all the shit he says, people are like, wait, if he can say that stuff and be the president, I should be able to say what I think and be okay.
And be okay.
Be okay, you know? Because I think people are so socially anxious, you know, how am I gonna seem, what are people gonna think of me, and you know, putting this like version of yourself out there. And I think that was probably a reason why I also wouldn't talk about personal stuff, because the way I was raised, you know, and stuff like that. And I just think it's so much healthier, you know, speaking about things, because then you'll actually get feedback. You know, if you never put it out there, no one will ever answer. And you'll get feedback, and like you grow when you have like back and forths about things that are in your head, and you should just let them out.
And not in just the I guess Twitter's up to, what, 260 characters now? Like, you can't make any sort of nuanced statement in 140 characters.
Yeah.
We're kind of up to a paragraph now, but just the fact that that's the way that world leaders communicate to all the people now,
Yeah.
and it's all that people have time for, and it's just like when Jose Lobo was on the podcast, we were talking a lot about kind of dystopian stories. He had read 1984, and I had only read Brave New World.
Oh, okay.
And he convinced me to start reading 1984.
Mm-hmm.
Or the conversation convinced me that I should read it. I got it at Value Village, and I was like, I'm paranoid enough already. I don't need to read this. But I just got to this part in the book where this one guy's talking about the kind of the finalization of Newspeak.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, we don't need all these words for good, bad, excellent, you know, like you don't, like, so much, it's so much confusion. There will only be like 6 words that are in reality 1 word. There's good, plus good,
Yeah.
ungood, double plus good, and double plus ungood,
Yeah.
and ungood. It's like, so it's like things are they're just variations of good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're doing with Twitter, and it's like
Level 1 good, level 2 good.
yeah, so sorry.
Yeah, no, I read the book too, like 2 summers ago, and I was like, whoa, like, it's insane. And to think that book was written, like, when was it written again?
1946,
Right?
or 1950, something like that. It was around the end of the Second World War.
That's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, that he had that kind of foresight into what's going on, and you know, with everyone kind of just like snitching on everyone for thought crimes, and that's, you know what, it's weird that now I feel like that's changing my stance, that we almost like owe it to each other to make these long expressions of like feelings and thoughts, and take the time to really address, like, you know, if you're going to say something that you think about every facet of that thought, and be like, but I've also taken this person's view into consideration, and here's what I think about that, and I acknowledge that I don't know about this, instead of just going like, thing X is double plus ungood, and then people either like or dislike that, right?
Yeah, I found myself, like, you know, I see all these people on Facebook, you know, someone posts something, and then like gazillion people will comment and be like, oh no, this is stupid, this is shit, or the opposite. And, you know, some people will actually elaborate and explain, you know, further. And a lot of the times, you know, I won't disagree with something, or something will kind of piss me off, but I'm like, I'm not just going to comment and say, you're stupid, you know? Yeah. Like, what's the point of that? So it's like, people are always thinking almost a little too much ahead. Like, what's the next thing that I have to do? What's the next thing? That they're like not concentrating on the now. And I've also been trying to work on that, because it's stressful. Like, always thinking about what you have to do next. Like, it's a never-ending list. And yeah, I don't know. Just need to take more time.
Yeah, it's weird finding a balance between doing all the things and not, you know, blowing up while trying to do all the things. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is to do nothing at all, and then you come back to it with laser beam focus. And, you know, you ever just like try to do so much, and then you get to this, you kind of like wear yourself thin, and it's late, and you're like working on this project, and you're like, I have to finish this. and then you like take a nap, and then you like come back to it, and you're like, oh, I was just fucking shit up for the last 4 hours of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So moral of the story is, if I ever respond to any of your posts, know that I actually took the time to think about what I'm saying.
Oh, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself now. There's no backtracking to be like, oh, I wasn't thinking clear about that.
Well, that's why I never post anything.
There you go.
I go either one way or the other. I have to find the in-between.
Yeah, people just got to come see you in the real world. It's tough. There's this, when you go and play in the real world, you encounter people who go out and do things.
I know.
And are more likely to come see you in real life, instead of, you know, just quietly being like, I really like your stuff.
Yeah.
I'm scared to leave the house, which is fine too, you know?
Yeah.
It's sad too. I was lamenting the fact that you can have people whose lives you're impacting significantly with your art, and they'll never tell you.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Or maybe you're, you know, like it would, and sometimes you need that. Like, so maybe those people don't know that, like, that's the extra push you need to, like, that'll make you like release the next album, instead of like giving up for the next 4 years. Just be like, oh man, I can't do this music thing. I gotta.
No one cares.
Yeah.
You know? And it's weird. Like, whenever I'm performing, I always, you know, like to say like, hey, like, if you like any of the, you know, stuff I did, or you just think I am not terrible, you know, just come say hi or something, because it's, if nothing else, you can just be a conversation starter, you know. And I don't mean like come say hi, tell me how great I am, you know, like literally come say hi. Like, I am out of my house and you're out of your house, like we can talk, you know.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. And I know it can kind of be intimidating, like for me too, if, you know, someone is performing and, you know, I really like their stuff, but I'm not gonna go and say hello. It's kind of weird, and a lot of people feel like that, you know, you like don't want to get out of your bubble. But it doesn't have to be so fancy, you know. I feel like there's this when you're an artist, it's like oh, they're like this thing on stage, and they're like so free, and like I can't go interact with it. Like, what am I gonna say? What is it, gonna be? And it's like this thing of like, maybe, one person is the artist and the other person is the fan, and it has to be like that. I'm like, literally, like, we're people, like, we can just hang out.
Yeah, it's weird when you spend all this time kind of like crafting this version of yourself that you present for 45 minutes on stage, and then people only see that. They don't know that they can come up and just be like, hey, do you like cartoons?
Yeah.
And you'll be like, holy shit, dude, I love cartoons.
Yeah.
Yo, Cat Dog was the shit.
Yeah. Cat Dog, Cat Dog.
Yeah, see, you remember the theme song. Yes. Ren and Stimpy had a good one. One of my old bands used to, I don't even remember now what, we used to just throw the Ren and Stimpy theme song. That like really fast, it's like surf rock guitar, like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We just used to like throw that into the middle of like certain songs. We'd be like, this one's in A. We'd just like give each other a look, and then be like, if anyone knows what we just did in the middle there, we'll buy you a beer. And we got it once out of like 50 times that we did it. So it was like Ren and Stimpy.
Nice.
And that's cool. That's why I like doing deep cuts over hits. Hits can be good because, I mean, a lot of people like them a lot because they're good.
Yeah.
But then there's songs that are equally good that people never hear. And then when you meet that person who's like, yo, did you just play Holy Ghost by Borns?
Hey. Yeah.
So how much of a freak is Borns?
I think he's a freak. I think he's just
I
amazing.
just mean in how good he is.
Oh.
You don't think he's...
Yeah.
You don't think... I think he's a freak. I don't think anyone has the right to be that good.
No, he's definitely super, super talented. And I actually looked him up and I saw some of his older stuff, before he became Borns, the brand.
Mm-hmm.
When he was just going by his, like, first and last name.
Yeah.
And, he's playing his ukulele and looping stuff, and it's just amazing.
It's inspiring when you see people who are great being, like, earlier down the road, and you see, like, it's literally like a piece of ore, or you see, like, the gold and diamonds in there, but there's so much that they haven't chipped away yet. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite case of that? Do you know any, like, bootlegs of your favorite bands that are like cringeworthy and it inspires you?
Well, like, some of my favorites, I feel like Jason Mraz. I don't know if you know him.
Very familiar with him.
He sang that song, well, you done down me and you bet I felt it, try to bitch you. He's just an amazing, like, songwriter, I think, and his wordplay, I kind of, when did I discover him? I think I was, like, right before I started playing guitar, or maybe right after, and I was like, whoa, like, this is amazing. I have to get on his level, It was such an inspiration. And, yeah, I feel like he would be the biggest.
He was always good, though.
Yeah.
There's videos of him at, like, the school talent show singing when he's, like, 5 years old, and his vocals are so on point.
Jason Mraz?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, there's his... There were, like, maybe points when his songwriting hadn't come together as much as it has now, but damn, he just had it since day one.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? Well, one of my favorites is Butterfly live at, I think, Rolling Stone, that acoustic session. I was hoping you'd keep going.
But I feel like Barnes and Jason like have some things in common, like musically. Especially Barnes's music before. He was very like his wordplay and what am I thinking about?
He did that TEDx freestyle.
Yeah. Like the way he writes and his flow is very nice. And I think I just really like that, and I like to write like that too.
That brings me to one of the points on this card. You kind of rap in your... Is that all coming from Jason Mraz, or are there a couple other influences? What's the most gangster shit you listen to?
Gangster shit? The first rap song I listened to, I was like, yo, was Eve. And her song Satisfaction.
Right.
I love that. I just kept listening to it over and over until I learned the whole thing. I love it. But then my brother listened to rap, so he would listen to Tupac and back then Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent and The Game and all that. So I kind of grew up listening to that kind of stuff. So I always loved writing in a very like rhythmical way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where it comes from. That one song I actually kind of rap in. I never say I'm a rapper, and I don't really rap. It was mostly for fun, for like a point in that song. It just needed to be kind of like stripped down and just say all the things I had to say.
Which song's that?
Sunshine.
Okay, I was going to mention that song.
Maybe I'll play that one later.
Oh, please. That song's pretty raw. It seems, I'm not too familiar with the lyrics, but it seems like a bit of an FU, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
How long ago did you write that?
Like 4 years ago.
Do you ever reach a point with a song where you're like, I don't feel this way anymore, and you struggle with?
I get to the point where I'm not as like maybe passionate about it as when I first wrote it, because it was like really bugging me. Now I got it out of my system, so now it's not like so, it doesn't eat my soul away. But I never like change my mind. Like even if I have a good relationship now with that person, I'm still like, you fucked up. That's a fact. We can forgive, but don't forget, type of thing. And it's all good, but...
Do you feel like there's a point where... Because you don't have a lot of studio recordings.
No, I'm working on them now.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
How long has that been in the works for?
Well, I've been messing around at my home studio and doing all the demos and kind of trying to figure out the pre-production, and I've been shopping around for producers, so if you know any, or if anyone's listening and you want to work, hit me up.
I don't think any of them are going to hear this. Maybe. I know a few that might be listening. But they're not anyone that I won't suggest after the after the show anyway. It's do you ever feel like you scared that you'll hit a point where you'll go to record something and that fire that wrote the song is gone, and you're like, shit, this would have come off better as I could have done a better job releasing a cell phone demo of me doing this song when I was really feeling this way than as like a perfect studio version now that the song has done its magic and I've kind of like gone through the therapy of creating this thing externalized this feeling completely and let it go?
Well, I feel like, when you go to the studio and you kind of have to take like, okay, so with this one time I went to the studio, we're gonna take a nice professional video of me doing like a few songs, and I was with this guy who wanted to manage me, so he was there. He was kind of like stressful, and anyways, I got there and I was gonna do 3 songs, right? And we started with the one that it was kind of everyone's favorite, but I got there and I swear I sang the same song for like an hour and a half. Like, I don't know how many times I sang it. And for instance, like they wanted to check the levels, and they were like, start singing. And they made me sing the whole damn song like 3 times, and they were checking the levels. They could just go, sing something, get the levels, okay, let's go, right?
Yeah.
But every time they would let me sing the whole song, they were like, okay, let's try moving the mic a little bit. Then again, the whole song. Okay, let's change this. A whole song. Okay, and then at the end, they were like, oh, like, wow, your energy is kind of like low, you're not feeling. I'm like, dude, like, I can only say, this thing so many times.
Yeah.
Like when you say one word like potato, and you say like potato, 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 like say it 50 times, at the end you'll be like, what am I saying?
You look at that word and you don't even understand how it represents the thing
right
that you're talking about. It's just a random conglomeration of sounds.
Yeah.
Potato.
But yeah, to like close it off, I think that just comes like with more experience and like working on it and doing that, being able to capture the feeling and understanding what it's about, or like think about a certain thing when you're singing that certain song, so you can always kind of go back to it and kind of see the same things if you close your eyes, or like, think about the same things. That always helps me.
So there's that switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Tell me about Honey Jam.
Honey Jam was cool. It's a non-profit organization for female artists to educate them about the music industry. So they have the auditions early in the summer, I think June. You go there, there's over 100 girls, women. And you audition, you have, I think, 1 minute. So whatever you're singing, you kind of have to chop it up and like figure out a minute. And then they call you and let you know if you're in. And they only pick 20, I think, 15. So I got in. I was pretty excited. And we did a bunch of workshops. We went to the Google and YouTube like headquarters in Toronto. They talked to us about like how it works, what you need to do to get the most viewers and stuff, how the algorithms work. We went to the Harris Institute. We talked with managers, publishers, songwriters, producers. We got to pick their brains. My favorite part, so we met 2 really cool people. One was Latoya Luckett, like one of the original Destiny's Child.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she was really cool. And then my favorite part of the whole thing was we met Jessie Reyes. I don't know if you know Jessie Reyes, but
I don't know her personally like you do now, but we've been pumping her shit.
Yeah.
Lately. It's good.
So sick. So yeah, I got to meet her, and we had a meet and greet type of thing, and we got to ask her questions, and she answered them. And
did you know who she was going into it? Because she's kind of
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a month before. I just like found her type of thing on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, whoa, she's so good, and I really loved her, and I started listening to her music a lot. And then
it's not feel good music.
No,
but
it's good.
It's good music.
It's good music. And then when they told us that we're gonna have a thing with her, I was like, what? This is so cool. And the whole thing started with us singing her song Figures. So I was one of the 3 girls that sang it, and I was playing the guitar, and I started it, and like I was looking at her, and she was looking at me, and I was singing her song to her, which was pretty damn cool.
How were you intimidated or just stoked?
I was just stoked. Yeah. She was so chill, so cool. Just like so down to earth and aware of how the industry works, and, you know, people, and like being a female artist in the industry. And she was just sharing everything, and it was really good.
Is she based out of Toronto? I think she name drops Brampton in a song.
Yeah, she's from Brampton, but I'm not sure. Like, she lived, I think it was in Miami or something. Not Miami. I don't know, somewhere in the States for a long time. So I think she was like kind of here and there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you know if she does she program her own beats, or does she have kind of a team? You don't know?
No, she has her own team. She was part of this thing called the Remix Project. It's again, you like apply for it, you go, and then you work on your shit with industry professionals. And yeah, that's where she kind of met a lot of cool people and started working with.
That's cool that she's like paying it forward now.
Yeah.
So maybe when you have your first hit, people will be singing Sunshine to you at Honey Jam.
That'd be neat. That'd be so cool.
Pink and Amy Winehouse. So you've got on all your bios, you've got Jason Mraz, Pink, and Amy Winehouse as your kind of top influences. Let's start with Pink. I mean, we started with Jason Mraz.
Yeah.
Let's move towards Pink. She's so cool.
Yeah.
She does all her own stunts. Her guitar player, Justin Derrico, is like one of the baddest mofos on 6 strings. They do that. Have you seen that cover of Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Right?
I know. She, like, for me, So, I found out, I discovered her when I was 13. And at that point, and I was really frustrated. I had 2 sisters that I really didn't relate to at all. And my parents were separated, so my mom, I didn't live with my mom. All the people I was related to and all the women that I knew were just not inspiring at all. I was just really frustrated. And it's also like cultural there, you know, it's like...
There's some pretty strongly enforced gender norms, I guess.
And very sexist.
Yeah.
So...
You didn't want none of that.
I'm like, what the fuck?
But you didn't see anyone who kind of existed outside of that box, and then all of a sudden you see Pink with her... What was it, a music video? Was it I'm Coming Up?
Well, no, then it was You in Your Hand.
Oh, that's...
And she was badass, like in the gym, like hitting the bag and like telling everyone to fuck off and starting fights. And then I just like, went crazy and I searched YouTube for everything there was, all the interviews, all the live shows, all the music videos. And I was just so inspired that she was such a strong female character, and her music too, she was pop. She is pop, but
there's so much blues and...
Yeah, she would make some really good points, too, in her songs, which she talk about, and she's just an all-around badass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse. We all know why Amy Winehouse is amazing, and it's so funny because almost all female artists that I meet now that are like around my age, they're all like, Amy Winehouse, my influence, But I mostly mean influence in a way that how raw she is with her lyrics. She'll just say it as it is, and she'll be completely open and see-through with her lyrics. She's like, here it is. It's not pretty, but that's what it is, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's what I usually say when people are like, oh, like, what's your music like? Who do you kind of sound like? And I'm like, kind of a mixture of Amy Winehouse and Norah Jones. So, like, the attitude that Amy Winehouse has, but, like, soft, like Norah Jones.
Mm.
I don't know, just things people would tell me.
I don't know. I wouldn't have... I mean, I'm obviously not surprised that you like Norah Jones because she's amazing, but I'm surprised that that's one of your go-to things, because I don't...
It's only because a lot of people told me, I think just from the tone of my voice sometimes, and that's why, because she's very like kind of soft and mellow. But yeah, my songwriting has evolved, and I'm not just soft and mellow anymore.
Did you know that she's Ravi Shankar's daughter?
No.
Her dad taught the Beatles how to play sitars and shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's really crazy, right? I found that out recently.
Wow.
And I'm just like, wow, all right. Yeah, that makes sense, though. Of course you'd be amazing at all this stuff. Amy Winehouse's phrasing is that kind of cool that I want to tread carefully here, because I don't want to glorify her substance abuse, but there's kind of there's a combination of when someone is heavily sedated but also has this indestructible natural sense of rhythm.
Yeah.
That just sounds so cool, and it's unfortunate, and you know what, she sounded better when she was sober.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, she still had that, and there's not a lot of people that can do that. I think Willie Nelson is one of them. Haley Reinhart, I don't know if you know who she is, but she's one of the best contestants to ever have been on American Idol, and she got like 7th place or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And she's now kind of finding some YouTube success as a singer for Postmodern Jukebox. and Frank Sinatra, obviously. Like, I don't know if you listen to his stuff, but he's got that thing where he knows exactly where the beat is, and he can go off and do this little lick, and then you're like, he's never going to get to the next line. Pop.
Yeah.
And then your head just explodes. And it's just like this carelessness and shit. How do you get there,
Yeah, I don't know. You know when I find out. Hello.
Ooh, let's talk about kickboxing. You're a kickboxing instructor.
I am.
That's crazy.
I know.
How is it? Is it karate or just?
It's like Muay Thai,
Like-
kickboxing.
Muay Thai is like the backbone of it, or is it MMA
it's
style,
like-
just like whatever works best?
It's like Muay Thai. I started with Muay Thai, where you use your elbows and your knees as well. But as a sport, I like kickboxing more, like the K1 style, which is you can't like grab someone and just keep kneeing them. You have to like be more of like a boxer, moving around more.
Muay Thai is
striking.
pretty brutal.
Yeah.
You ever see it in Thailand? They have like the kids just beat the shit out of each other. They'll do like 3 fights a day and they're 12.
They don't even wear the headgear. Like the pros, they don't even wear headgear or shin guards.
Yeah.
They're literally kicking each other with their shins. And then the way you block the kick is with your shin.
Yeah.
So they go shin on shin. It's, no.
Or like you lean into a punch, just like, it's just like, I'm not going to block this. I'm going to just like reduce the amount of, space you have to hit me. I'm just going to run right into it. That's insanity. You're teaching that. You balance that with, how do you protect your hands? That's one thing that, or
They're wrapped
I
up.
mean,
They're in
obviously
gloves.
wrapped up in gloves and stuff, but do they get like tingly? Do you find after like an intense, couple of days, you're a little sluggish on the guitar, or?
So, no. If it's a really intense like day, like right after, my hands will kind of like be shaky, just because of like tensing them so much and like putting so much pressure on them. But it just goes away later. It's kind of like when your muscles are just like fatigued, right? Your legs, you go on a leg day at the gym and it's like crazy, and then your legs are kind of shaky. It's just kind of like that.
Nice.
But other than that, no. Like before kickboxing, I used to do Aikido, and there was way more pressure on the wrists and all the joints.
Right, because they're all about wrist locks, joint locks.
Yeah.
And kind of.
Yeah.
The purpose of that martial art is to just bend your opponent's joints in the ways that they don't bend
Yeah.
and make them give up.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so with that, my wrists were really flexible, got really flexible, but also they would be kind of messed up a lot of the times. With boxing is actually way better than kickboxing. Never get that. If nothing else, my wrists and joints are stronger from all the hitting. And
I saw a study that said mountain climbers actually, obviously kickboxing and mountain climbing are like totally different things, but just like the stress that like climbing puts on people's hands, like after a certain point, there's a point where you're susceptible to injury, but after a while, they show like a buildup of the connective tissues, and people who have been kind of climbing their whole lives show almost like no signs of osteoarthritis, which is weird.
well, for climbing, it's usually it's not an explosive thing. There are explosive moments, but it's just like endurance on those muscles. So like you're training them to like endure a lot of stuff. For kickboxing, for instance, when you first start, it hurts your wrists because they're not used to it, and for your shins when you kick. But what happens is the muscles tear and the bones a little bit, but then they grow back stronger.
Yeah, you get like these like like micro abrasions, little breaks in your bones, but they calcify in those areas and you get like stronger shins from bashing your shins. There's his name starts with a B. There's an R in there somewhere, but he's a Muay Thai fighter. I just watched a YouTube video of him literally just like
a tree.
Yeah, you've seen that?
Yeah.
What's his
Bash
name?
the tree.
Burukawa or something. I don't.
Oh, Wakao?
Maybe. Yeah. He's like.
Yeah.
He's not like big, but he's
not like human, but
he's like shredded. Yeah, not like human. Exactly. Like a little smaller, like a very lean gorilla.
Yeah.
Almost. And he just literally kicks down a tree. He's just like, ah, ah, and just like kicks. Yeah. For like a minute and a half. It's a process.
Solid.
But just every time like splinters fly out of it until it just falls over. And you're like,
so he actually chops the tree in half.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane.
Have you ever seen Ong Bak?
Yeah.
That's a sick movie. Eh?
It is.
And then Ong Bak 2.
Yeah.
That big guy throws an elephant. I hope that wasn't an elephant, but it was shot in Thailand. And,
Who knows?
Oh, God. Poor animals. See how I segued?
Yeah.
To my next talking point. So, on your way over here, I was like, yo, Granddad's Donuts, unless there's any dietary restrictions. And you answered back with the very conservative, just like, I follow a vegan diet, but I like tea. And I find vegans unfortunately get this reputation for being like really found the vegan, that's the deal. And or that the stereotype, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. And my girlfriend's vegan, and she's kind of the same way, where she tries to go as far from being that person as possible. And I think that's what you do if you want people to follow along. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar, or whatever they say, right? And I don't know. Am I right in assuming that you're one of the more you don't want to step on people's toes with your views? Or obviously how do you find the balance between caring about animals but also not being a dick?
No, life is hard, not being a dick is a struggle of mine every day.
Yeah.
Well, you're right that, a lot of vegans have that, a lot of vegans are like that, and there's that stereotype of them being assholes. And even like there was this one new vegan bakery in Toronto which I love, and it's called Tough to Be Cool, I think.
Okay.
TBC. But the first time I went there to check it out, the girl who worked there, she was just such an asshole. And she just seemed like one of those, like, typical annoying vegans. Like, it's, like, super annoying.
Like trying to be more vegan than the other vegans?
Yeah, it's like, what are you... I don't know. It's like, unfortunately, that's what most people know when they hear vegan. They're like, ugh, the vegan. Because those kinds of people are the ones going on Facebook and posting on every picture you post that has meat in it or dairy. And, they go on and on. But for me, like, I was this vegetarian. I turned vegetarian like 10 years ago or something, while I was like 14, 15, right? And again, Pink was talking about, animal rights and all that. And I'm like, oh, what? I never even thought about it. So I looked it up a lot, and I'm like, fuck.
Chicken is an animal.
Yeah. And I'm like, this makes sense. I didn't know. And it's a part of, like, again, how you grow up and what your parents are telling you is good and what is bad. And you just not think about certain things or other people or animals. And she kind of made me, she made me research it. And then when I moved here to Toronto, my girlfriend was...
Probably one of the easiest places to
I know.
live a vegetarian diet.
Right? So when I moved here, my girlfriend was like, hey, you should be vegan. I'm like, but I love pizza and cheesecake and eggs. And she's like, no, it's good. It's, it's good for you and it's good for the animals. And I'm like, well, why? I'm already not eating them. And what's the problem? And then she showed me more stuff and I looked into more stuff and I don't know. Pretty much is, I think that there is way too much of it here, especially in North America, where it's just such a huge business, and...
You mean the
meat industry. It's such a huge industry, meat and dairy. And it also came to a point where, even the meat you eat, people say like, oh, but you need meat, you need the stuff that's in the meat. You don't, but if you did, it's still not the nutrition you think you're getting. You're like, well, people back in the day, we used to eat everything. I'm like, yeah, but back in the day, you'd have to go hunt it. And I don't see you hunting anything now.
Yeah.
I see you're taking too much for how much work you're putting into it. You're not supposed to eat that much of it, I think.
No, definitely. It's the most outspoken people on the other side.
Yeah.
I feel definitely eat. I think it's easier to eat healthier if you're not excluding those things. There's just less to consider. Mm-hmm. But the people who are most outspoken about that eat an unhealthy amount of meat, right? It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like that there's a lot of kind of like athletes out there who are, proving that you don't really need to. There's what's the name? I don't know if you know Rich Roll. He does like the Ultraman marathon.
Oh yeah.
It's 3, like it's a triple triathlon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 3 times.
Yeah, just back to back.
Yeah. And it like something that like when the triathlons started like 30 years ago, mm-hmm. There was maybe like 40 people who were even willing to like try this, and now they're like doing 3 of them, and this guy's won this, on zero meat. So kind of to say that it's like unhealthy, even if it's not the norm, it's completely ungrounded to say that it's unhealthy or it's unreasonable. Then mm-hmm. you get Patrick Baboonian, was that vegan strongman mm-hmm. guys? Do you know?
I think so. Yeah.
Really big guy. He's kind of like a heavy set. Right?
I think they're actually working on a documentary right now, and it's called something like The Game Changers or something like that, and it's about like athletes that are vegan, and they're like showcasing them and like showing all the crazy things they're doing to break that stereotype. So like for me, I try to kind of be an example. I don't like waving my vegan flag around, or when someone asks me about it, I'm like, oh, watch this or read that. I don't like convincing people of anything. Mm-hmm. I'm not that kind of person.
It'll just be like, oh, hey, how do you have so much energy?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, maybe because I eat a lot of vegetables. How much? Only vegetables.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Literally, and at the gym too. They're like, oh, you have so much energy and this and that. And I'm like, yeah. And then when they ask me, like, oh, what do you eat? I'm like, oh, I eat vegan. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. Works for me, and I thought it wouldn't. But the thing is that one thing I noticed when I talk to, like, meat eaters, and it's so funny, like, my my superintendent at the building I live in, she's from Serbia, right? Oh. So when she heard that I'm vegan, she's like, what do you eat? What? You come to me, you come to my home, and I make you some meat so you eat good, and I'm like, what? And it's like, I know how it feels to be you. I used to eat that diet, and now I eat this diet. You only know your diet. You haven't tried my diet yet. You're claiming to know everything about it. How bad it is for you, or how this, or how that. So I'm like, literally, I don't like want to fight about it. It doesn't matter what you think and what I think. I'm just saying this works for me. If you want, try it. But until you try it, just don't say anything.
Yeah, right? That's totally fair. And see, I had a thing, and then in the middle of that, I came up with another thing, and now I've forgotten both things. One of them came back to me. One thing I found interesting, you know the Diaz brothers?
Yeah.
UFC fighters?
Yeah.
So, they're pescatarian, lacto-ovo, whatever, year-round. But when they have a fight coming up, they go raw vegan.
Oh, wow.
And that's one thing that I found interesting, because I heard that, and I was like, I really want to know, because like these guys are, two of the most successful athletes in one of the most intense sports, and there's been some kind of like conflicting reports on that, but then I found an interview where they explained that, because the hardcore, like, kind of holier than thou animal rights activists are like, these guys are, lying to you about whatever, but it's like, for the efficiency, they're like, just raw vegetables. That's, it makes sense to me. So a couple of years ago, you played London, Ontario's Pride Festival. Was that a festival setting, or was it like a side stage?
It was like during the festival, but yeah, it was like a big stage. And then they had kind of like a market out there. So it was kind of during the daytime. It was just pretty chill. It wasn't like anything crazy.
But it probably felt pretty good to be a part of that, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Did you get some feedback on the songs? Did anyone kind of particularly connect with the music, or?
I didn't really get to talk to anyone. We kind of got there and did the set, hung out a little bit, and then we had to go back because my bassist had also another gig to go to.
Oh, you didn't get to stick around?
No, that was sad.
Oh.
But and also, like, on a stage like that, a lot of the times it's harder for people to, like, hear the lyrics, and I get this feedback a lot that I mumble a lot when I'm singing, so you can't hear the words properly. But then again, like, when I play venues, some people will come up like, oh, that song you sang about that, like, really resonated.
I don't think you mumble. I think it's hard to hear lyrics in general, especially when you stylize them within the context of a melody. You kind of have to select whether you're going to prioritize the understandability of the words or the musical element, right? And I like sometimes when Jessie Reyes is someone who kind of does that, where she's very even more than articulate. She really cuts into the words. She's the main focus is that you understand what she's saying, and the melody is secondary.
Like, fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me clear it up a little bit.
Yeah. My first batch of songs that I wrote, I felt like everything was kind of shrouded in metaphor. I had things that I wanted to say, but I also didn't want anyone to know what they were. I just needed the release of saying them in front of a bunch of people, and people would be like, I liked the sound of that. But now I'm getting like a little bit bolder, which same.
Yeah, same.
Do you have any doozies coming up where you're just like, you're even scared to play them in certain venues? Have you ever been banned from a venue? No?
Sometimes I would think like, maybe this is not the best crowd to sing this song for. But usually I still do it anyways.
Yeah. I played this one show in Brantford where it was like, the audience was all, there was this kind of, I don't know, maybe like 19, 20-year-olds, like singer, songwriter, girl with a guitar, and her kind of like her whole family had come out to see, and that was like the majority of the audience. And I was like, I had these new songs which I haven't released yet, and I've kind of been keeping them off the internet, until I get like a real release. And hopefully, like we talked about, I'm not over those feelings, but they're called Blood and Drunk All Day. And they get really deep and overtly into the topics of just unhealthy coping mechanisms, right? And I was shocked that, like, I could read in, like, these older ladies' faces, like, this is kind of like, like I'm kind of, like, shocked to be hearing this, but, I can connect with this feeling, and the musical palette on which it's presented is, like, it's good. It's that, once again, like we talked about, that objective framework that a music teacher would kind of bring you to, that, like, no one can tell you how to do your art, but there are things that sound like good music, for a lack of a better word.
Yeah, it's weird, like, being a musician, especially if you write lyrics, it's kind of like a superpower, you get people to actually listen. You can mold it in a way that people will listen. And that's pretty important.
Maybe to an idea that they even think they're opposed to. And then maybe someone would think, after, like, maybe they like the song before they know what it's about, and as they listen to it, they're like, wait, it's about this? But how can I like it so much if I don't like that? Maybe I should, re-examine this. Do you still fantasize about changing the world with music? Are you how old are you? Sorry.
24.
24? Yeah. Are you too jaded for that shit yet, or are you still?
No, I think that.
Oh, good.
I think that the world changes little by little, and if you think that every person is a world on its own, each person you get, you're getting closer to it.
So, people can hear your new songs, the ones that aren't recorded yet. You haven't. As I was doing my Strombo homework, like, you know what I mean? That guy's just like, how did he get the time to read everyone's books? You know what I mean? Like, he has how many guests a week, and he always, like, had an in-depth knowledge of the books. Like, the guy, it's amazing. I aspire. Maybe one day he'll be a guest on my podcast. Who's ever interviewed Strombo? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Maybe, probably some other, like, he's probably graced some other indie podcast like mine with his presence, and he's like, I'm done with that now. I just went off on this tangent,
You're gonna say
romanticizing about George Stroumboulopoulos. Oh yeah, I noticed that there's a lot less stuff on YouTube on your YouTube. Are you saving up for that kind of release, or have you been writing a little less? Or
No, I'm literally just waiting to do a proper release. I worked as a producer before, 3 years ago, and actually recorded like 5 songs. I was planning on putting them on an EP, but I wasn't really happy with the result. I didn't want that to be the introduction of me, because that's what it is, your first EP. I was still kind of like new here, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted. I know what I didn't want, but not quite. I needed more time to like experiment and with different sounds and different things. And I'm finally at a point where I know who I am and what I want and what I want my music to sound like. So, yeah. I even went to school for it. I went to Seneca for their independent music production program.
have you finished that program?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. And we did a lot of production and songwriting and business side and, royalties and how the money flows and a little bit of everything.
It's a little nauseating, isn't it?
Yeah. But, you don't have to know everything. You have to know like the basics just so you understand how things work. And then hopefully eventually you get a team, and then each person has their own section they worry about.
That's cool. Do you fantasize about finding the right label, or do you think you're eventually going to be like, fuck this, I'm the label?
Yeah, I don't worry about finding a label, because that idea is outdated. Yeah, long outdated. Nowadays, the record label will come when you're already at a certain point.
At the point where you don't need them.
Yeah.
See, that's what people fail to realize.
Yeah.
It's like if you have 10,000 YouTube subscribers, those are legitimate people. That's not Facebook likes. That's people who want you to pop up on their phone every day. And if you've gotten there.
But again, it's like the type of deals you would make with the record labels, it's not the same as before.
Mm-hmm.
You would kind of use we're talking about major record labels, to distribute your things. Maybe you would like help with a tour and all that stuff. But other than that, they're not gonna do that much for you.
What's your fantasy career trajectory? Is it basically Jason Mraz, like kind of, be the source of songwriting, or?
Be the source of songwriting. I want to find producers that I like their work, and I can work with them. So then the recording can be this collaborative thing. And I honestly just want to keep touring. I just want to tour.
You're setting up a Canadian tour, aren't you?
Yeah.
When do you know when that's commencing?
It'll come in the summer. I'm gonna be kind of traveling around everywhere. I'm also going to Vancouver for the whole August.
What are you doing there?
Just hanging out, checking Vancouver out, and playing a bunch of shows.
Do you know where you're staying?
Where am I staying?
Yeah, in Vancouver.
Has some friends. My girlfriend is kind of in charge of that. She has some family and friends.
Oh, nice.
That we'll be staying with.
It's expensive to be in Vancouver, but you're used to Toronto. It's just like a little pricier than Toronto, I think. It's a lot nicer though. It's cool music scene. I feel like I love everything. If I had unlimited money, I would be I would live in Vancouver probably. But I love everything around Vancouver, and it's. Have you ever been in the area? Out to BC?
No.
It's just the weather too. It's so. Oh, now I'm daydreaming about Vancouver. Are you skipping the prairies on the tour? Are you flying out to BC and then doing this side as well, or are you driving?
I'm flying there, but then we're gonna drive around, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the details exactly yet, and I also I barely just learned to navigate Toronto. So
you don't need to know anything. It's
don't
all
quiz
on your
me
phone.
on geography.
Oh no, I wouldn't dream of it. So that's. I'm not. I've driven across the country a couple of times now, and it's. I don't like flying. I don't. I don't. I'm not afraid of it or anything. It's just like it's an unpleasant process, and as much as like driving through the prairies is like, oh my god, like the next venue is like, 15 hours away or something like that, and there's like not even a town in between. There are those, couple of towns that you hit that it's nice. It's nice to get there too.
I definitely love road tripping. I also prefer it too. I'm only flying because we found these like super cheap tickets randomly.
Nice.
So we're like, oh, cool, let's go. So we're gonna just drive around when we get there. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Band or no band?
No band.
You gonna find some people in Vancouver to back you up or no?
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Cool.
Maybe loop things a little bit.
Nice. Yeah. I'm talking to the listener, I'm talking to you, Eric Thorkildson. If you check out Jana's YouTube channel, you'll see her collaborating with a ton of people. You're not looking for like the right band, or are you? Do you have a fantasy of like that 4 or 5 guys and or girls that you'll develop this kind of like rapport with and always be playing, or are you just like everyone's riding their own wave? And
I'm looking for a band. It's just like we talked earlier, playing the show might be easier with a band. A lot of times, it feels more time and stuff like that. But getting prepared for that show with a band, everyone's so busy, have to kind of work around everyone's schedule. And that's what kind of kept me from having a band. For a while, I had this amazing jazz pianist play with me, Daria. And I still play with my friend Justin on cajon. We'll see, we might get him to start playing the actual kit. And I'd love to have a stand-up bassist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I always wanted that.
That's a cool sound.
Cello, I always loved string instruments, and I can't play while I'm playing guitar, so.
You a fan of Nirvana?
Never was like super into them.
And they're kind of before Kurt passed, they were touring with a cellist regularly, and it was like, I think very, very androgynous looking person with a name that I didn't that doesn't give away.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what pronoun to use, but the cellist was really good. They're from the Meat Puppets, maybe. I think that was the name of the band that he kind of grabbed that person from. But then you'll notice that that person was playing with them at like all of their shows. There's this awesome DVD from Paris, and it's like they're doing like, because you see the cellist in the live in New York, the acoustic thing, but then there's this like live in Paris thing, and they're doing the whole rock band thing, and the cello's adding so much to it, and
string instruments always make everything seem kind of deeper and more melancholic. I love that.
All right, so, and then I think we're just about, we'll plug the show, I guess, that we're playing one more time. We kind of started to, and it's your first time playing in Toronto. I wanted to say that in the post. Hamilton?
Yeah.
I'm my mind's in Toronto because we've been talking about your town a lot. First time playing in Hamilton. What's the impression you get of the city?
I was surprised. I really liked it. It reminded me of parts of Belgrade, like Serbia, where I come from, where I'm originally from. And it just kind of reminded me of that. I had a very kind of familiar feeling.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's a friendly town. It's like just the right amount of scary. You know, you know what I mean? Like
Not New York scary.
New York's not scary. New York was scary in the 90s, but New York's not scary now. Hamilton won't be soon. Were we in the middle of something, or did we just end something ungracefully? I don't know. I'm honored that you'll be playing at the Corktown on April 7th with my band Funny Boat. I think it's a cool mashup. We've done this the first time I saw you play. I was playing at, is it called the Linsmore Tavern?
Or was it the Cavern?
No, there was a time because Jonathan Starks, is that his name?
Yeah.
He and I were playing at the Linsmore.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I'm going to this open mic night. Like, you should really see the person who, like, you were hosting it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this girl, Jana, like, it's fucking sick. It's just like a couple blocks down. It was a farther walk than he made it out to be, especially with carrying the stuff that I brought, but it was totally worth it. And remember there was the electronic drum kit, and my friend Scott and I played a couple songs, and then
Right. I forgot about that.
And then my friend Nate was playing Cavern Bar, and he asked me to jump on the show, and I was like, let's get a local to come out as well. And that was you. I was like, she probably won't do it. She's like, what do we have to offer?
Why not?
And you're just like, yeah, exactly. You're like, why not? And it was cool. It was just this kind of like laid back night. There were like a few randoms in the bar, because Cavern Bar is like, it's an independent bar, but it's in the basement of
a motel,
a hostel.
Right?
Yeah. So you get all these travelers.
Yeah.
And stuff, and it was a really cool vibe. I think
there was quite a few people there.
Yeah.
That night. It was really nice.
It was really nice. And then I was already like blown away the first time I saw you play, but that was, you're kind of like, you're playing for a whole night, and you're just kind of filling time and experimenting and whatever. And then Cavern Bar was more like a show, where the switch is, maybe it's not a switch, maybe it's one of those, what do you call that, where you're like and you like put it up to like max power, and then it's easier to switch that on when you're not the sound person.
Yeah.
You're like, what? Someone else is doing this for me? Sick.
Nice.
And and then even like after the show, I think like you and my guitar player were like freestyling a bit.
Yeah.
Doing some raps over the acoustic guitar. Just so it's that.
That was neat.
Yeah. So I'm so happy to be bringing that because that was such a wonderful little experience, and it was just like a bunch of random people who just happened to be at this, hostel basement bar got to experience that. And here's where I started saying this, where we got to expressing yourself on social media, because the way shows work is either a bar pays you to play songs that people know for a long period of time, and they know that you're at a certain level, and your music will not make people walk out, and that it will be familiar, and you'll be playing it at a level that inspires them to stay longer and drink more, and that will be worth their money to pay you that. Yeah. But that's not... You can't... So that rules out original music.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
On the other end of the spectrum, you have the 6-band ordeal, I think I called it, where you get, multiple acts. The promoter pressures all of them to sell X number of tickets, and they compete for like the best time slot. And people come out to see something, and they see not very much of it because they have to fit all this stuff, and then are then immediately bombarded with something that can have sometimes nothing to do with what they came to see. And the success of that works just by, having 6 bands times 5 members, and even if everyone brings 3 people, you've got a packed house.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful to Jimmy from the Corktown for giving us a very legitimate stage to, play this music on. And I'm thrilled to, share, obviously, the completely narcissistic element of, spilling my own guts out for everyone to hopefully relate, and then I'll feel, I don't know, maybe validated as a human for people understanding the feelings that I've turned into songs, but also for, sharing what you do and hopefully connecting through this live element with people. And it's you can only record so much, and you can only get so much through a recording. There are very few albums that, capture everything. And even then, like, you find, like, you go see a really good band, someone who puts the entirety of their being into putting on a musical performance. You get something much richer from that than a recording. And I hope that on April 7th, people come out to the Corktown, drop $5 to see at least one amazing act. And it's a matinee too. That's another thing that Jimmy's taking a risk on, that I had to convince him, like, people are saying they want this. And to be honest, have you ever done early shows like this?
No.
Right? It's and I saw an article about it, like, shows start too late. And have you been hearing that buzz?
Yeah, I've heard that too.
And I don't like to leave the house at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, especially people that want to go listen to stuff, but they have kids. They're like, I can't be out that late. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so 4 p.m., it's a dinner time thing. They've got specials on fish and chips. Their nachos are unreal. But if you don't eat animals, like I said in my Facebook post, they have a really good veggie burger. They have a veggie wraps with hummus. And
hummus.
Yeah, hummus, exactly. The unsung hero of vegetarians everywhere. Yeah, come out for a real good time and subscribe, both our stuff if you want to hear any more of this. Yeah. This is I'm learning how to wrap up a podcast.
Yeah.
This
You're doing it. You're doing good.
is the end now.
She's just an ordinary girl, yeah. I'm just a complex for her world. She can try to, but she can't fly home, cause my home's not based on land. I'm just too easy to be pleased. She always held me on my knees. I don't see the reason for calling her no more, no more. She didn't care about me being old until she saw me leaving. She got her eyes open wide, but now she's still against my pride. She said the things I wanted to hear. She loved me when I was front and when I was near. I don't like the kind of treating, but I still don't want to hurt her feelings. Sweet sunshine, you're always with someone else. Said you love me, but were you ever there? So start apologizing. Sweet sunshine, just come give me one last kiss. When I leave, you will be missed. Although we lost that little something. She still says she loves me. It's hard to live without me, but a pain is too grand for her to stand. And now she found herself another one to call her own, to cover up her past mistakes and lonely nights and empty beds. She says you're too good to be with someone like me, or even me, cause I'm not it. I'm not the one that you seek. I'm too weak and can't even speak up or stand up for beliefs I believe. I'll always be the one to quit, always the one to leave. I never understood why I got to be the one to have you when the storm came by, to pick me up when everybody turned their backs to me and just neglect me. You were the only one, always did, always to help me. Your love is the only thing I need, but it would be too unfair to give you for myself indeed, cause I know I'll never be good enough. I'd always walk away, always walk away when the times get rough. Full sunshine, you're always with someone else. Said you love me, but were you ever there? So start apologizing. Sweet sunshine, just come give me one last kiss. When I leave, you will be missed. Although I lost a little something now. Sunshine, yeah. Sweet sunshine, she is the love of my life. Yeah, she knows how to treat me, and she is the love of my life. Yeah, she knows how to treat me, and then I met a million people and 2 million faces, but I never met one that's so familiar. And I might not even know what I'm missing, but now everything seems so much clearer. And she is the love of my life. She knows how to treat me, and knows how to treat me, then I don't even know how I made it this far. 'Cause life is hard when you're not a white guy. Sorry, don't even know how I knew what to do. I guess subconsciously I was always waiting for you. And I've been waiting for you night and day. I've been waiting no matter sun or rain. I think before you I was colorblind, 'cause nothing anymore is in black and white. Oh, she is the love of my life. She knows how to treat me, and oh, she is the love of my life. Yeah, she knows how to treat me, then
Just keep rolling. Fuck it.
You were always taking, always too busy making everyone else feel like they'll never ever really get the chance. Then I saw you the other day, running away with tears on your face, telling him you don't wanna see him no more. Are you back in the game now? Looking for a new player now? Oh, forgive me if it's too early to ask. Are you back in the game now? 'Cause I can be a second player now. Just promise you won't play me the same way that you've been played. And I'm not asking for anything serious, just a ring and a kid or two, maybe a house with an ocean view. And I know how things can be. I can be a plan A to Z. You just got to let me know. Are you back in the game now? Looking for a new player now? Oh, forgive me if it's too early to ask. Are you back in the game now? 'Cause I can be your second player now. Just promise you won't play me the same way that you've been played. Would you like some breakfast in bed? Or are you the kind of person to fall for a smoothie to go instead? Yeah, I'm not so hard to be with, 'cause I'm flexible, adjustable. I'm all you could ever wish for, all you could ever hope for. Please, you just got to let me know. Are you back in the game now? Looking for a new player now? Oh, forgive me if it's too early to ask. Are you back in the game now? 'Cause I can be your second player now. Just promise you won't play me the same way that you've been played. Are you back in the game now? Looking for a new player now? Oh, forgive me if it's too early to ask. Are you back in the game now? Looking for a new player now? Oh, just promise you won't play me the same way that you've been played. I'm so tired. The caffeine is not stronger than me. I'm so tired. No, I won't feel better with some Earl Grey tea. I'm so tired. Please don't ask me anything to do. I'm so tired, tired. I'm about to pass out. Oh, yes, I will. Wake up cold at 6 a.m. Better be out by 7. Got everything I need, assignments whatsoever. Got in traffic all day, but I'll make you mine. Will let it stop just because I am so tired. The caffeine is not stronger than me. I'm so tired. No, I won't feel better with some Earl Grey tea. Yeah, I'm so tired. Please don't ask me anything to do. I'm so tired, tired. I'm about to pass out. Oh, yes, I will. And then she holds my face with both hands, looks into my eyes and says, oh, baby, you don't treat me right. I won't accept this behavior. You better get your act together, or someone's sleeping on the couch tonight. Just 'cause you're tired and caffeine is not stronger than you. Well, baby, I don't care. There's still things that you need to do. Just 'cause you're tired and caffeine is not stronger than you. Well, baby, I don't care. There's still things that you need to do. I'm so tired. The caffeine is not stronger than me. I'm so tired. No, I won't feel better with some Earl Grey tea. I'm so tired. Please don't ask me anything to do. I'm so tired, tired. I'm so tired, tired. I'm so tired, tired.